Why? Every fiber of my being wanted to avoid reviewing Murder Mystery. The writer of the film, James Vanderbilt, is a man I admire. Unfortunately, any employee of any job anywhere can have an off day. I'm only guessing Mr. Vanderbilt needed to pay his gas or electric bill for this absolute crap fest of a movie. My discomfort shall be your enjoyment, hopefully. If you laugh, chuckle, or even at the very least smile, know that's more than I did watching this 97-minute abomination.
Charles is inviting us to spend the weekend with him on a yacht.
Crashing the party with civilians.
You're an actress, right?
Grace Ballard.
I am Nick Spitz. This is my wife, Allison. I can't believe...
Audrey. I'm Audrey.
I said Audrey.
Did you ever fool around on a boat? I just lay here and the boat does all the work.
There's been a murder!
When I started this channel, I was adamant about keeping my reviews optimistic and positively charged. Lost and Found was, for me, about discovering hard work that deserved more attention. However, as time goes on, I gain a bit more awareness. I've been asked to rip on some films. As a creator and someone who's been passionate about writing since I was a child, it's tough to tear into someone's work. Unfortunately, at times, that work can feel nefarious or even malicious in intent or design. So here we begin, a new chapter, Found and Buried. Let's begin.
Now, shall we begin?
Adam Sandler used to be one of Hollywood's most talented comedians. A former SNL cast member, he went on to be in a lot of popular films in the 90s. In the 2000s, he even managed to show that he had dramatic range. One could even say that Adam Sandler is capable of being a good actor. However, as time has went on, Adam Sandler has become a caricature of himself. Something he once picked on funny people has actually become reality. In 2017, Sandler signed a 4-film deal with Netflix. So far, those films, The Ridiculous Six and The Do-Over, have received a total of 0% on Rotten Tomatoes and 5% respectively. However, the viewership has been through the roof, thus bringing us today's target. Murder Mystery. I'm completely perplexed on how to even start this review. I must also admit, on some level, part of me doesn't even really want to do it. I understand how that can be discarding to a reviewer, like a chef making pizza and saying, I kinda tried.
That's funny.
Regardless, the complete lack of care, effort, or drive to do this film was so apparent that it kind of rubbed off on me. One should not be knee-deep into the fantastic, highly acclaimed HBO series Chernobyl, the series that deals with body horror from intense radiation that is nausea-inducing, and then hop into an Adam Sandler comedy and yet, somehow, someway, feel worse? I feel worse. Murder Mystery feels more drab, a complete drag to get through. It was so mind-boggling, I'm not even sure where to begin. Oh, what is happening? So the movie just starts. Adam Sandler's character, Nick Spitz, yes, the writers thought that was humorous, is a police sergeant who had recently failed his detective exam for the 3rd time. Rather than treating the audience like adults, it's explained in a heavy exposition scene. No establishing shot to get a frame of reference, just Sandler and his friend walking.
All the answers, I just freeze under pressure. You know, I can't take the exam for like 3 more months, so I gotta continue lying to Audrey, so when we're at dinner tonight, please tell you what...
No. Come on, man. You know I'll lie for you anytime. I will cover up dead bodies for you.
Before long, they get into a rant about his wife, Jennifer Aniston's character, Audrey Spitz. How are they going to lie to her? The movie doesn't really give you a reason to care, so guess what? We don't. Then we flash to Audrey's character. While Aniston is a good actress in most regards, it's clear she has no idea what she's doing with hair. It's so damn distracting that you quickly lose scope of the scene. Audrey is complaining about Nick's inability to be romantic.
I mean, tomorrow is our 15th wedding anniversary. I'm still waiting on that trip to Europe he promised me on our wedding day.
That's been 15 years?
Yeah, I could have walked to Europe by now.
They've been married for 15 years, he's never taken her on a getaway trip to Europe, whatever. A promise he once made to her, whatever. So Sandler's character, to help with the lie, decides to buy his wife terrible gifts. He gets her an Amazon gift card, and wait for it, the product placement. You think that's bad? Wait, oh, just wait. Anyways, Nick deduces that a kid has stolen a bunch of snacks from the store.
I like your Snickers, they must be expensive. Is that why you can't afford the Monster Energy drink or the Flamin' Hot Cheetos? Hang on.
Hey, let go of me, man.
It's perhaps the only subtle nod to him being a capable detective in the entire movie. The only thing worth pointing out in this scene is the product placement, but we're moving on. So Nick and Audrey get into this huge fight. Audrey then decides out of nowhere to hold it against him that they've never went on this Europe trip.
How come we haven't gone to Europe, Nick? You have to explain this to me. We never go anywhere.
I would travel. I took you to the Poconos that time.
But that was for a funeral, Nick.
Nick then tells her, wait, I was kidding. Of course we're going on that Europe trip. Tomorrow.
Now you're gone and done it, Audrey.
What? What'd I do?
I told you I had something big for you at dinner and you couldn't wait till tomorrow morning.
No.
We're finally going to Europe. Happy anniversary.
Oh my God. I'm chilled. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
So the two hug. It's not apparent whether or not Nick made the sub decide he would wing it or not. He just hugs her, and Sandler doesn't care enough to help explain the situation with any sort of facial emotion. We as an audience are just supposed to assume that a couple that lives in New York can fly to Europe the next day. If I'm starting to lose you as an audience, thank me for enduring this pile for you. Subscribe, please.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Okay, Audrey. So Audrey's introductory scene was her complaining about her husband not being romantic. He's wrapped up in work, he's lazy, he's Adam Sandler. This is established, but immediately when they take the plane, she's bored, she's annoyed with Nick.
I tried calling and nobody.
Who'd you
Crazy
call?
busy signals.
Really?
It's the busy
Who
signals.
did you try to call? Please, shh. Just leave my books alone, okay? Just let me read. I just like, it makes me happy.
I understand those being married for 15 years might not have the honeymoon phase anymore, but this is literally their honeymoon dream vacation. So Nick falls asleep on the plane, he snores like a twit. The joke is supposed to be that a grown man is snoring, something that roughly 55% of the population does daily, is supposed to be funny. Regardless, Audrey complains for earplugs, the stewardess says they're $9. Audrey throws a tantrum. God, is this movie over?
Hi. Could I please have some earplugs?
Yes, for $9.
$9 for earplugs?
Yes.
That's okay. I'll just use my peanuts.
Audrey eventually leaves her disaster of a husband and goes to the first class lounge. Here she meets the dapper, charming, and handsome Charles Cavendish, played by Luke Evans. He eventually impresses the woman so much that she forgets about her sleeping husband in the other cabin.
Where's your husband?
Dead.
Within moments of knowing the woman, he asks her to come to his incredible yacht somewhere in Europe. Immediately she is floored with this opportunity, but not before being caught by Nick. She then begs him for the opportunity to go.
He is inviting us to spend the weekend with him on a yacht with his family.
Well, we have plans.
On a bus.
A bus that is bound for the idyllic village of San Grigio, where we can watch a demonstration on how they age ham.
Let me explain something to you.
Go ahead. Tell me what I'm
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Go.
We would be sailing around European harbors, okay?
Yeah.
We'd be eating fresh fish.
Right.
And then we'd be drinking wine.
Again, we are minutes removed from this woman literally begging her husband for a romantic getaway to live out their dream destination. As soon as a handsome Johnson walks in the room, that flies out the window. The guy looked like Jared from Subway. Would this still be the case? I don't think so. Also, I don't travel much, but don't people make plans to fly? Not, hey, let's go here, or maybe go here. Don't people book rooms, travel locations, etc.? Does all that go out the window when Tall Glass of Water Luke comes in? I suppose so. So the two then decide to go on their bus tour. They're causing a huge ruckus. The two then decide to stop. Hey, let's find Cavendish and not do this. So they turn to Cavendish, who just so happens to be parked right next to that bus, and they join him. God, how much longer is this movie? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. So the two are brought to Cavendish's giant yacht. The yacht is huge. Did you guys know? The yacht was huge.
This is amazing.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be bigger.
What?
I did.
Bigger than this?
I really did.
Keeps going
So
up?
we go this way.
Wow.
There's another deck, hon.
This isn't funny. Sandler films, at least ones of recent memory, do not know how to write comedy. Again, as I've stated several times, comedy is so subjective. However, there's a basic formula to writing good comedy that Sandler often ignores. It's easier to make references to man's genitals or make race-related jokes. See, that's funny. They keep bowing. Funny. Laugh. Just laugh. Let's take Anchorman, which I consider to be a comedy that has held up pretty well over time. Will Ferrell, like Sandler, is pretty good at wearing out his welcome in films. However, Anchorman has something this film doesn't have: setup, payoff. I'll give 2 examples of this. In Anchorman, it's established right off the get-go that Ron Burgundy reads right off the teleprompter. This is established without a joke, but more or less as information to the audience. We dissect it, we move on.
Damn it! Who typed a question mark on the teleprompter? For the last time, anything you put on that prompter, Burgundy will read.
This is a setup for the punchline.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
What in the name?
Setup, payoff. The other example, Brian Fantana shows off Sex Panther to Ron Burgundy. It's a ridiculous, overpowering cologne that Ron even risks on himself. This time, instead of presenting the information as is, it's presented as a joke.
It's quite pungent.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, it's a formidable scent. It stings the nostrils. In a good way.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm gonna be honest with you, that smells like pure gasoline.
They've done studies, 60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, let's go see if we can make this little kitty purr.
God, no, it smells like a used diaper filled with Indian food. Oh.
Then moments later, we see Brian as being scrubbed down because of Sex Panther. These are the jokes that Murder Mystery thinks are funny.
Loretta, let me introduce you to Steve and Lady Steve.
Juan Carlos. So you're a race car driver.
Good, yes.
Wow, how do you get into something like that?
Number 1, yes.
You don't speak English, do you?
Very fast. Very fast, huh? Welcome. Yes.
I just thought because we are discussing each other's flaws right now, you wanted to put it out on the table.
I'm sorry, but listen, I didn't think that was a sensitive subject.
It's not a sensitive subject. I just don't like you telling everybody.
I'm sorry I brought it up. I'm sorry. Never mind.
I'm really starting to not like you. Are you guys laughing yet? Laugh, laugh, laugh now. Claritin or Allegra? Sandler films in the modern era have a few similarities with each other. Of course, the use of Sandler's film buddies, terrible jokes, potty humor, animal cruelty, racial insensitivity, but none of these are as ham-fisted, as blindly annoying as the product placement. People whine, complain to the heavens about Man of Steel's, "Oh, you just wait. Just you wait." Later, when the Spitz family spends time together on the yacht, instead of using this as character development, we spend more time doing this.
Sorry.
You're allergic to rich people now?
No, stop it. I'm allergic to stuff. Will you please grab me the Claritin?
Yes. Yeah.
Baby, that's Allegra. You said you packed Claritin.
It's the same thing.
No, honey. Allegra doesn't work for me.
Oh. Okay, when we get to Monaco, I'll get you your Claritin.
It's gonna be called something else over there, I'm telling you. Just remember the blue box.
You know, Allegra in French means the same shit as Claritin.
Movies are expensive. I think any 5-year-old with a calculator can quickly identify that. Sometimes that requires pooling resources in creative ways. This is not one of those ways. At least the film warned you, as I previously mentioned, showing a close-up, almost a still shot of the 2 over-the-counter drugs. The later scene is just so blatant, but not nearly as offensive or derogatory as this scene.
It's Dunk!
Dunkachino?
Don't mind if I do!
What's my name?
Dunkachino!
It's a whole new game.
Dunkachino!
You want creamy goodness? I'm your friend. Say hello to my chocolate blend. Attica, hoo-ah, lottie light. This whole trial is out of sight. They pull me back in with hazelnut too. Caramel swirl, I know it was you.
Oh, I forgot about the plot, and so did the film. I've spoken briefly about the plot. It's difficult to really identify the plot because, in all honesty, the film itself might be harder to follow than randomly watching a season of Game of Thrones. Even worse, we don't care. But anyways, bear with me, we're gonna make it. The Spitzes are brought on this giant yacht by the wishes of Cavendish. Come to find out, this is in fact Cavendish's uncle's yacht. Cavendish's uncle announces to all his nearest and dearest that he is in fact giving the items of his will to his new wife Susie. As he goes to sign it, the room goes black, he gets stabbed, and a gunshot goes off. With everyone a bit confused as to what happens, Nick rushes into action. Come on, put some effort into this. Anyways, Nick instructs everyone to leave the body alone and to not touch it.
Will you listen to my husband? He's a detective.
Yes, yes. What should we do, Mr. Officer?
Well, for starters, let's stop removing and reinserting the murder weapon into the victim's chest. In fact, let's stop touching the body altogether.
He's basically going to play detective because remember, he failed his detective exam, and this is proof he's a good one because movie plot. If I'm slogging through this review, I deeply apologize. It's quite a cesspool of emotional turmoil. After Nick instructs the boat to be docked, a French inspector who boards the boat then deduces that the Spitz family is responsible for the murder.
You.
Right, of course, because everybody is a suspect.
Especially her.
This mind-boggling reach is with the fact that not only do the Spitz not have any motive for murder, something they even mention, but the inspector then pushes the motive on them by stating that they could have been paid.
Perhaps someone paid you to do it.
Paid us to do it. Oh my gosh, I would love to see that. Show me that money.
Yes.
We don't have. Do you want to see our bank statements? We're broke.
The inspector then states that Nick has even more motive because he's lying about being a detective. This automated overload of information dump the inspector does is so nonsensical.
Spitz, NYPD, failed his detective's exam 3 times. You are, how do you say, cop on the bit, not detective as you so claim.
So I tell people I'm a detective. That's not a crime.
But we go with it anyways. Also, the plot was trying hard to set up that Nick is a good detective. You know, he points out not touching the body to contaminate evidence. Later, when they're meeting with someone to give the plot details, the man is killed. What's the first thing Nick does? He touches the body. So Audrey and Nick are on the run. They decide, last-ditch chance, to call the inspector that is hunting them to Cavendish's place. Here they will reveal to the police who the real killer is, despite not really knowing.
So can we please just figure this out too?
We just don't know who did it.
But Nick, we know who didn't do it.
Eventually, Nick reveals that he actually received documented information about Grace, one of the suspects with a motive, including birth certificates, etc. However, we were never shown that, and Nick and Audrey moments earlier had just explained that they were winging it.
I spoke to my partner in New York City. I said, get the death certificates for Madeline and the son. He could only find one for Madeline. But then I started thinking, maybe there's no death certificate because there was no death.
Right?
Right.
So let's just go downstairs and act like we figured it out.
What?
Come to find out, Grace killed Quince, the old guy on the yacht, because she was actually the heir and didn't want to risk the money being split multiple ways by French inheritance law. Have you ever heard of that law? I haven't either, but Audrey and Nick randomly, during their winging it argument, bring it up, because plot and movie.
French law.
The French law. Yeah, surely, Inspector, you of all people are familiar with the French inheritance law. The French law states that a man's estate must be divided equally amongst his children.
Grace then tries to leave, but not before Audrey remembers that Nick hit her with a dish earlier, in the face. This part is key for several reasons. 1, the hat doesn't hide the scar enough to work. 2, Audrey wasn't there to actually see this happen, so perhaps Nick told her about it? I don't know. 3, Nick is established several times, even in the same scene, that he's a horrible shot with a gun. However, he's able to frisbee toss a dish into her face? Okay. Grace's gig is up. She pulls a gun. It's one of those shots where I think editing was trying to be quick enough to hide the fact that this looks extremely goofy, but they could have just easily reshot it.
First time pulling your gun?
Grace is arrested, everyone wines and dines over their victory, yada yada yada. But wait! There's more! Audrey then discovers on her own that Grace wasn't alone. She had an accomplice, Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos is a successful race car driver that's pigeonholed into this plot for no reason. His only development outside of him driving a race car is that he doesn't speak English.
Hey,
Juan Carlos.
So you're a race car driver.
Good, yes.
Wow, how do you get into something like that?
Number 1, yes.
You don't speak English, do you? Anyway.
French fries, yes.
Carlos, that was so brave.
De nada, señora.
Here's a shock. He does!
He speaks English. I've spoken English my whole life, you stupid idiots. And a dozen other languages. And by the way, your Latin sucks. You understood it!
He then shoots tires to old European police cars before backing into a brand new Alfa Romeo Giulia. This is just frustrating and so lazy to me. All the other police cars are garbage, but for the sake of product placement or even plot, this one isn't? Audrey and Nick give chase and run after Juan. They hop into the infamous Ferrari Testarossa. Audrey speeds up and then catches Juan Carlos. A few things bug me about this. One, it's established several times that Juan Carlos is an incredible driver. Presumably he's driving parts of his country he's known more about than Nick or Audrey. That, and about 2 minutes into the scene, Nick applauds Audrey for being able to drive a manual.
All I'm saying is, when the engine sounds like your sister's voice, irritating, high and loud, you gotta switch gears.
Anyone that drives a manual at this point should be busting out laughing. While not incredibly difficult, it's not something you master to race car driver levels in mere minutes, let alone driving a difficult to drive Ferrari. But, plot. They stop Juan. He has Nick at gunpoint. This incredibly dramatic, intense, nail-biting moment. A bus hits him. The same bus full of white trash people and Hispanic stereotypes. They say goodbye to the inspector. Inspector says Nick was given a recommendation to become detective. Apparently his recommendation supersedes his ability to pass a detective exam. The two then get on the Orient Express, which is supposed to be a cute nod, but it isn't. The end. Murder Mystery is one of the unfunniest films I've seen in a while. Difficult to do as Adam Sandler, with the help of his production associate, continue to crap out winning gems like The Ridiculous Six in this. Besides easy to hit humor based on a 10-year-old's intelligence, nothing here tries to be funny. No setup, no payoff, no surprise elements to the comedy structure, nothing. The film's writer, James Vanderbilt, is a gifted, talented even, writer that wrote the 2007 Zodiac film. Regardless, the structure of plot, common sense, and creation of the mystery is so thin that you'll be bored within a few minutes. This took 2 watch sessions after the first session put me to literal sleep. Unfortunately, with the success of this movie, more will come. It's a shame when we have fantastic films that remain hidden, films you can find on my Lost and Found playlist. Hey, product placement. But piles of complete processed trash like this are praised with your time. Like I said, if you laughed or even so much smirked at this review, then I did something the film couldn't even do for me. Alright, it's time to go drink my sorrows away. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy the content, please subscribe and give this video a like. If you have any suggestions for future episodes, leave a comment down below.